to David Cunliffe, like most of his own caucus have already done.
Catherine Delahunty.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker, tēnā koutou te whare paramata. I have not got a rhyming couplet series in this speech, but I want to talk about a really true story which is important to this country. While the Prime Minister was heading off to Bali to further strip our country of its sovereignty and its resources via free trade deals, 3 young men entered the Australian consul and asked for amnesty, for peace and the right of journalists to visit the country of West Papua. Australia ignored their pleas and also dumped 7 desperate people from West Papua who were being hunted by the Indonesians into a refugee camp on the border with Papua New Guinea. But what has New Zealand done lately? What has this government done lately for this beleaguered country? Well, Mr Speaker, we have colluded with the powerful against the vulnerable, and we have committed $6.34 million over 3 years to run yet another community policing program to train the police to play nice in West Papua, based on the supposed great success of the previous pilot. Now, this pilot in 2008 to 2010 was interestingly assessed, and it was supposedly a success in the minds of some of the well-intentioned people who believe in community policing. But if you ask West Papuans about it, what they have experienced from their police in the 2 years since New Zealand did this wonderful training has been nothing short of desperate genocide. There have been police involved in numerous incidents of human rights abuses, shootings, killings, torture and attacks on communities. These have involved deaths and the vigorous application by the police of treason laws, which include arresting people for praying for peace at church services, for holding rallies and for supporting the Freedom Flotilla from Australia. So thank you very much, New Zealand Government. This is not helping. Community policing is a very good initiative when the community has got some kind of basic rule of law, but right now we're sending our community police to train in a war zone where peace has not been declared. What about aid, Mr Speaker? What about addressing poverty? What about human rights? What about HIV programs and community development? The Green Party are great supporters of positive aid, but we are very concerned about human rights, and we know that human rights in West Papua are daily abused, and we know that our government in this country is now ignoring the Bill of Rights on family care, for example, and has introduced mass surveillance, thus showing a willingness to adopt more totalitarian methods. However, to spend 6.34 of very, very precious aid money on something that is not going to work is actually disgraceful. The training policy that's being introduced is in a contaminated context and it's doomed to failure. And it's very interesting to read the review of this pilot that was supposedly the great success. And one of the quotes from the review is that the degree, quote, to which the project contributed to improving human rights and enhancing respect for the law, for the rule of law, the degree is unknown. They don't know, and now they're throwing more money at a problem which we will not take responsibility for in the true sense, and the problem will not be fixed by yet another waste of community policing training. This is incredibly disappointing. In fact, what it's like is handing out pretty umbrellas to people in the middle of a cyclone. That's what we're doing. New Zealand Government aid program in West Papua is handing out the pretty umbrellas in the middle of a series of police and military attacks on citizens which are a disgrace. So the Green Party is calling for a much more positive response from government. We know they love mass surveillance. They're in with the right people if that's what they like, but Indonesia requires something more in terms of response. We need to challenge Indonesia to start a peace dialogue with the people of West Papua to create some safety, some human rights and some basic legal rights in that party. And if New Zealand wanted to take leadership, that $6.34 million would be better spent on negotiating with the parties to create a peace environment with some independent mediation, which we ought to be capable of, than all of these other ridiculous programs that aren't working. We are very disappointed, Mr Speaker, in this waste of money.
Honourable Todd McLeay.
Mr Speaker, thank you.